Welcome, Matterporters. Thanks for joining us on this Shop Talk Session 8. Appreciate your attendance and welcome. So let's check out what we've got on the menu for today. So today I want to talk to you a couple things. I'm going to present a new video that I created. We're going to be talking about all the different ways to customize your model. Today, we're going to focus on the two first tools at the top, the Getting Started and 3D Scans. So we'll take a look at that video. And then immediately after that, we're going to be talking to Holly Brunk, who is here with us today. Thanks so much for joining us today, Holly, and taking the time. Is your audio
Great to be here, Amir. I'm here. Great to be here. Thanks, Amir.
Okay, so it's all about the account today and a little bit about customizing, and we'll show you a lot of good tips and tricks, housekeeping, looking at collaborators, how to manage them, and some things that you can do in your model. So let's go ahead and get going. I'm just going to go over here. All right, so I'll just get this video going. It'll just take a quick second, so bear with me. Welcome, Matterporters. Thanks so much for joining me today. In this video, I want to start a series of videos where we'll be taking a very in-depth look at all the tools available to you in Workshop. So these are the tools that you're going to be using to customize your 3D tour. In this video particularly, I'm going to be looking at the Start Location and 3D Scans tools. But before we do that, I just wanted to take a step back for a second and look at the toolbar and see all the different features that we'll be covering in this series. So let's go ahead and check this out. We're here on the model page, and in order to access Workshop, I simply click the Edit button right here. The model opens up very quickly, and you can see that on the very left at the top, I have the Exit button to get out of Workshop, so I can go back to my model page that way. You'll also notice that if I go into one of these tools, that Exit button is taken over by the name of the tool itself. So keep that in mind. If you want to exit out of Workshop, you have to deselect or escape from the tool that you're using, and then you'll be able to see the Exit button again. To the right, we have the Preview button, where I can see all of the changes that I've been making prior to publishing them. Before publishing, none of the changes that I've made are actually publicly visible. So in order to see any of the changes that I do make, I do need to make sure I click that Publish button so that my visitors will be able to see those changes. As with Showcase, I also have access to my highlight reel and play button down here, as well as the mesh view, dollhouse view, and floor plan view right there. And in the bottom right corner, I have the settings button available to me right here. And if I click that, my settings will open up. And this is something that you definitely want to keep in mind. Before I get into the tools that we'll cover today, let's take a quick look at the settings. And so first of all, you have the options on the very left over here. Let's start with presentation. If you want your visitors to be able to see all of the information that you have in the details section, then you can choose everything. If you just want them to access a compact view, obviously choose compact. And if you don't want that title in the top left corner to appear at all in your model, just go ahead and select none here. If I go down to tour and highlight reel, this is where I can choose to activate the tour buttons as well as the highlight reel. If you don't have a highlight reel, this is not going to be active no matter what. We'll get to how to edit your highlight reel in another video, but in this case, if you do have a highlight reel and you're wondering why it's not visible, this might be the answer. You want to make sure that this toggle switch is activated. If I go down to the next option, I see units, and this is what allows me to choose the unit of measurement. In this case, I'm going to choose US Imperial, and then I'll go on to Advanced. Now in the Advanced options, I get to make things like the dollhouse, floor plans, and labels visible to my visitors. If I don't want my visitors to access any one of these options, I just simply toggle the switch to off, but by default, it is going to be on. Also very important to take note of the measurements mode. This being on allows your visitors to see any measurements that you've captured. If you don't want those to be visible to your visitors, then make sure that you turn this toggle switch off. In my case, I'm just going to go ahead and leave on the measurements mode so my visitors are able to see any measurements that I capture, and I'll go ahead and close the settings options. Now let's go ahead and dive right into start location. Now with start location, it's really important to understand that this is where you set the beginning of your guided tour. So when scanning, it usually makes more sense to begin on the lowest floor possible at one of the corners of that floor and start kind of creating a snaky path of aligned scan positions throughout that floor, and then work your way up to the preceding floors. However, of course, when our visitors come to see the model, I don't want them to start at the lowest floor in some random corner. I want them to begin at the entryway. So I'm going to set a start location. So once I've clicked on the start location button, you can see that I have a preview of the start location up here. This is only because this model has already had its start location set. If this is the first time that you are loading this model and coming into the start location, you won't see a preview here. This will just be grayed out. And so you can go anywhere you want. I'll just hit the number 2 to go to the dollhouse view, and I can move around and choose where I want this start location to be. So for example, if I actually want, let's say, the start location to be in the kitchen and not at the front door, then I'll just come over here and hit set. After a second, you can see that the preview just updated. And now anytime I share this model, as soon as that loads, my visitors will be taken right into the kitchen. Now, what if I need this model to collaborate with a subcontractor, or I want to use it to show somebody something very specific? If I'm just a visitor to this model and I have no control over where the visitor begins, but I want to show my partner something that's interesting about this model, how can I send them a link that'll get them to exactly where I need them to be without giving them a whole list of instructions and which way to go? So this is a very important pro tip that I think you'll find very useful. It is the letter U on your keyboard. So regardless of where I am in this model, I'll go over here and I'll choose this as my interest point. I'll hit the letter U, and you can see that up comes a link over here. I have the option of using the shortened URL or unchecking that to use the long URL. I recommend just sticking to the short URL. The long one is really, really long. So I'll copy this to the clipboard, and I'll go ahead and open up a new incognito window and just hit paste and enter. And you'll see that as soon as the model comes in, it actually loads into the exact location where I was when I hit the U key. So this is a really, really important tool, and it's one of those things that most people don't know about. So I hope you will be able to take advantage of that. So that's really all you need to do to set your start location. It's just a matter of activating the tool and clicking the set button. So let's go now and get into the 3D scans. I'll just click the 3D scans button here. And let's go over everything that we see now. You can see over here it says 3D scans, tells us that I'm in the 3D scans tool. You can see I have a list over here. This can be collapsed. And it says floor 1 over here. Now, if I only have one floor, my visitors aren't going to see the option of choosing what floor they want to isolate. But if I have multiple floors, they will see that. And these are the names that they're going to see in that list. So right now it would say floor 1. In order to rename that, I just come over here to this 3-dot menu, tap there and hit rename. I can also click up here on the gray bar to collapse the list or expand the list. Now this list is reflected in the numbers on the floor as well. You can see as soon as I went into this tool, every one of the small circles where I placed the camera in my model has a given number. And it's important to note that these numbers actually do not correspond with the numbers in Capture. These are two different numbers. The reason for that is because in Capture, you start at scan position 1, but if scan position 2 is not aligned, the next scan position in the list is 3. So you'll go from 1 to 3 and you'll skip 2. In this case, number 3 is actually going to become 2. So in Workshop, all your scan positions are renumbered from 1 and up. And in Capture, you might be missing some numbers either because they were deleted or didn't align. So now you have a really good idea on how to navigate this tool. You've got your numbered scans over here on the right, as well as the numbered scans on the floor where the camera was positioned. I can move to a scan position and the number is reflected up here, tells me which number I'm currently on, as well as being highlighted over here on the right. You'll also notice that every scan position has this little view icon, this little eyeball icon, that allows me to hide the scan from either this list view, or I can choose hide scan down here, and that'll hide the current scan that I'm standing on. You can also see in the right-hand side that the scans included in my highlight reel are indicated with a small HLR icon right over here. Now, if I try to hide a scan that is currently being used in the highlight reel, I'll get this warning that tells me if I continue, my highlight from the highlight reel is going to be deleted. Now, we'll get to the highlight reel in another video, but just so you understand, if that highlight was not captured using a snapshot, then that means it'll have to be recaptured. There's no way of bringing that back. So keep that in mind if you are going to hide a position that's currently being used in the highlight reel. I'll go ahead and cancel this for now, but you can see that if I hide scan number 7, notice the circle around scan number 7 right here. As soon as I press hide, it becomes an X, which indicates to me that the scan position has been hidden. I can also see that the scan is grayed out over here, and my icon is changed to a hidden icon. All of these indications give me a complete understanding of which scan positions are hidden and which are visible. Once I publish this, the hidden scans will not be accessible to my visitors. And the reason why I might want to hide a scan is because maybe that scan position was captured not for visitors to access. Maybe, for example, I'll go to my floor plan view here, and I'm going to access scan number 110 right here. And you can see that this scan position is way in the corner of the room. And a lot of it, as I turn around, is really close to the wall and mostly curtains. So maybe this is not a really great scan position for my visitors to access, but it sure makes for a great scan position to use when capturing a snapshot of this room because it's so far back. So this is the scan position that I want to hide from my visitors, so I'll just go ahead and choose hide scan here. Now, if I've done a really good job scanning, I'm going to have a lot of scan positions all over the place. It's much easier to grab more scan positions than you actually need instead of coming back to the site to scan again. So I'll go to the floor plan view to get a good idea of the navigation path that a visitor can take going through this. And I can see that there's a lot of scan positions in this area over here. So I want to minimize that to make it a little bit easier for my visitors to navigate. So what I can do is just click on any one of these scan positions and just hit hide scan. And then I'll click over here and hit hide scan. So I can go through very quickly. Instead of navigating from one scan position to another, I can just go into the floor plan or dollhouse view, click on that scan position once to highlight it, and then choose hide scan. And that's basically it. I hope you found that information helpful, and we'll see you in the next video. Good. So, all right. So I hope that that helps a little bit. We're just kind of getting started with the top tools there, as you could tell, and I hope you got something out of that. And you know, next Chop Talk we'll talk about more tools and so on and so forth. So come on back. Okay. Hi, Holly.
Hello, Amir.
Thank you again for joining me today in this Chop Talk. Super excited.
Me too. And I'm sorry my video is not working for folks today. We've got some, today's been challenging, hasn't it? But I think we're in good shape now. So you'll hear me but won't see me. Are you ready for me to get started?
I am ready, yeah. What do you have in store for us today?
Okay, great. Well, so today we are going to talk about getting the most out of your account. So I work with customers a lot here in my success role at Matterport. And, you know, I get to see how customers make really amazing use of their account and the technology. But I also see some foundational features and capabilities really underutilized. So today we're going to provide an overview of some of those features and best practices for account management so you can ensure your account is right-sized for your needs and that your team are getting the most out of it. And whether you're brand new to Matterport or have been using it for a long time, we find that getting back to account management and a review of features can be really valuable for you. I will focus on our professional and up to enterprise level subscriptions But some of this will certainly be of interest for those of you with free and starter accounts. We're going to go over some items at a higher level. So if something of interest comes up that you'd like to know more about, of course, take a look online at our support center, Matterport University YouTube channel to learn more. But what I really want to accomplish today is giving you a lay of the land and ensure you have a good awareness of how to leverage your account and some good ideas for digging into uses and features that you'd like to use for your purposes. There are a ton of use cases for Matterport, with more coming to light for us all the time. So we just want to encourage you to dig in and make Matterport yours. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We'll start by taking a look at your plan and plan features. We'll go over some best practices for managing your account and your users so that you can optimize your subscription. And then finally, we'll review some of the additional highest value features and services that you can take great advantage of to become what I think of as a Matterport super user. So with that said, Amir, I think we can go to the next slide. Okay, so first of all, I want to ensure, real basics, I want to ensure you know what plan you're on, so you know what features you do have available to you. I do find that folks sign up for a plan, they're on it, they get into it, and then they forget that there's this whole slew of features that they forgot about or they didn't know were available to them. So to find your account subscription level, admins can find this in the banner when you're in your account in your cloud account, in the settings, also in settings in the billing section. So we'll take a look at that when we provide an overview of account navigation today. On the list here, you can see the number of collaborators or users that you can add to your account, the number of active spaces you can host, and additional features and services available based on your subscription level. You can review this list here, or as an admin, go to your profile dropdown, go to settings, click on billing, click on change plan, and you'll get a really nice representation of all of this detail. And then finally, you'll see this in the management section of your account, where you can also enable and disable some of these features and services. So we'll be taking a look at that shortly as well. So just a side note, the capabilities of Matterport are continuing to evolve and grow at a rapid pace. So this list of features aligned to your subscription level certainly isn't a comprehensive list of all Matterport capabilities, but it does provide a good overview of major features and services that you'll want to take advantage of. I will add that through our SDK and API offerings that we're opening up an unlimited and unknown number of possible applications with Matterport. So these offerings opened up this year in beta, and we're just super excited about all the amazing things that we know customers will get Matterport to do that we've never even thought of. So if you're interested in learning more about SDK and API for Matterport, take a look at our support pages online. And we recently did a shop talk session on YouTube, so you can take a look at that. It's titled API and SDK for Matterport, I think, so easy to find. But for those of you that are real, kind of tech savvy and creative and want to have great ideas, not sure how to use them, that's a great place to look and start. So just a quick look back at the list here. I want to point out that a few of the services that have an associated cost and tend to become even more economical the higher your subscription level. But we do want to help you to enable or disable those features to ensure that your teams are taking advantage of those best suited to your needs, but also that they don't have access to some things that you don't want them to have access to. So there's a good way to control those. So Amir is going to take us through that as well. So we can go to the next slide, Amir. All right, so let's dive into users. So there are a few different levels of users in your account that are designed to ensure the right team members have access to the right privileges and capabilities. If you're an admin on your account, I'm recommending that you review the user types and consider, do the right team members have the right access? Should anyone be removed? So for instance, someone who only needs access to view publicly shared spaces doesn't need to be taking up a user spot, right? You could remove them as a user and add someone else that might need more capabilities. Does anyone need to be added or changed to a different level of access? For instance, is the right person listed as your billing contact to ensure they get emails about payment issues and they can review your invoices, et cetera? We tend to only email billing contacts and account owners with updates particularly critical to them. So if you've got old employees or just the wrong person in one of those roles, take some quick action and make those adjustments. You'll see I've listed users in two different categories. We have users, which sometimes you'll hear us refer to as collaborators, with basic space upload, view, and edit access. We have additional view access for specific spaces for users, where users can see data on the space, such as when they were created, how many views they've had, and they can get into 2D photos. And finally, users with edit access can do all of this, and they can modify space details, edit spaces, order services, such as floor plans and Matterpacks. And if we take a look at the admins level of users, so all admins have the same access privileges as users. They also have the ability to add and delete users. As an admin, you can view space statistics on uploads, editing, and views across the entire account, which we'll show you in a minute. And they can enable and disable features and services. So your billing contact can do all of this as an admin. And additionally, the billing contact can download invoices, access and update billing and payment information like credit cards, and they can assign that role to someone else. And finally, the account owner can do all of those things, and they can reassign the billing and account owner roles. That account owner is seen by us as the primary point of contact in the account, and so sometimes that person's going to get emails or outreach that other folks on the account will not get. So just something to keep in mind. So we're going to take a look now at your account dashboard and do some navigation around the account to ensure you're familiar with that, make sure you have a lay of the land, and then we'll talk about adding users and changing user permissions. So Amir, let's first take a look at account navigation.
Whether you're an admin or user on your account dashboard will keep you oriented and organized with Matterport. So let's take a look around and look at some navigation throughout your account as well. Here you'll see the name on your account. Admins will see your account subscription level here and your default upload folder here. Now this can be changed in your folders and in your spaces section, which we'll take a look at. It can also be changed for individual users, so individuals will upload into their own assigned folder. Admins will want to keep an eye out here on the account usage. So the spaces hosted number is your active spaces hosted. So those are spaces that have been uploaded and have not been archived, or have been archived and made active again. This is a new account, so I have one space uploaded here. It's active and I've used one. Now on your account, it's going to show you your limit here as well. So if you had a business subscription level account, for instance, this would say 1 out of 100 spaces hosted. Now, if I get up towards that 100 spaces maximum here, I'm going to get a tile just above here that's going to tell me that I'm nearing my account limit. And it's going to give me a link to archive spaces and help me with some instructions there. And that helps you optimize your existing subscription level. Additionally, you'll want to keep an eye on your user count. And so here I've got 3. If this was a business level account, this would read 3 out of 20 users. So that will help me determine if I need to delete users who aren't active anymore or make any other changes in that regard. Here as an admin, you can invite users. And here, users and admin alike can see what spaces have been edited last. So for an admin, you're going to see this for all spaces across the account. As a user, you'll see this for the spaces that you have access to only. Similarly, this number of total visits for these spaces that have been made public will be shown here. So for admin, it's going to be a number that shows all visits for all spaces in the account. For individual users, it'll show you the number of visits for all of the spaces that you have access to. Here you can dig into view statistics a little more. And here you'll see the newest spaces that have been uploaded into the account. You want to keep an eye out here where we update new feature information and any other information that'll be valued to you and your Matterport account. So keep an eye on this section here. Now these icons at the top are going to help you navigate through your account. Right now we're on the dashboard. These stay the same no matter where you are on your account. You can look at your spaces here and take a look at how they're organized. You can add folders. You can move spaces around. You can search for spaces. Here you can look at your users as an admin. You could take a look at your public spaces here for every account that, or every space you have access to. You could take a look at statistics here. Finally, whether you're a user or an admin, you can manage your profile here. So this is your profile, and then admin can manage the account, turn on and turn off access to different features and a few other items within your account. Take care of billing, see usage data, and then this is a great view of your users and their access levels.
So let's talk about managing users.
Managing users in your Matterport account is quite simple. So we're going to take a look at this through the admin view. If you're a user, you don't have admin access, you're not going to be managing different users' access. But I would say pay attention and get an idea of what kind of access can be given, and this will help guide you with your admin if you feel you need to make changes. So here you'll want to keep kind of an eye on how many users you have to your account limit. So that'll be shown here. And you'll go to your users page in your account here for a little dashboard on your users. In this account, you can see that we've got 3 current users, myself as an admin, Nate as an admin, and then Alexa as a collaborator. Additionally, I have Pauline, I've invited her to the account, but she hasn't yet accepted it, so she's pending. And I'm going to remind her with a new email on that. Okay, and then here, if I had any collaborators or users on the account that no longer have access, they'd show up here as deleted. So this is a nice place to see the history of who's had access to the account. If I wanted to invite someone new, simply go here, add an email address, an invitation message if you'd like. You can select if you're inviting them as a collaborator or an admin. And if you've got any doubt about which to do, I would suggest starting with collaborator, and that's easy to change here. And then finally, this is a great feature. You can search for users here. So if you start to get a longer list of users, you get 10, 20 users, real nice and easy way to search for them and see what they've got access to here. Now let's take a look at Alexa's profile and see what she's got access to and make some changes. Here I've got Alexa's basic information. I can see that she's a collaborator. Here, again, I can see that she has collaborator access. I can change that if I'd like. I see here that her upload folder is set at Uploads Alexa. If I wanted to change that, maybe I want to streamline and have her uploads all go to a certain project. So I could change, for instance, to the project Golden Gate here. For now, I'm going to keep her uploads going to the Alexa folder. Okay. And then let's take a look and see what she has access to, what folders and spaces. Okay, so I just clicked on that. We see she does not have access to this individual space. You can tell it's an individual space by this icon here. She has no access to Nate's upload folder. She has editor access to her own upload folder. She can see the Monte Vista project, but she can't edit. Now maybe I want her to go in and edit and be able to make some changes to that space or to spaces within that folder. So that's a simple click of the button, and now she's an editor. And maybe I don't want her to have access to the Golden Gate project, but I want her to be able to view and at least get in there and see what's in there, but I want to make sure she's not making changes. That's an easy change as well. So you can manage the access at the folder level and again here at the spaces level.
So that's it for managing users, and we can go to the next slide. Okay, and I see with all of our wonderful difficulties today, Amir, we're getting short on time. So we do want to take a look at managing your features. So could you dive right into that and just give us a quick review of how to enable and manage your features?
Absolutely. So let's look at this. So we kind of briefly looked at this before, the manage page. And basically, this is where you manage all the features as an account admin for anybody collaborating with you on the account. So as Holly was mentioning, you first, let's begin with the top. You see your account, your name, the account name there. The fact that I'm the billing contact as well as the account owner. We can change that in the roles section that we saw before. And I can see the collaborators, the other collaborators and admins in my account. And down here, I can say whether I want collaborators to be able to order matter packs, or I'm just going to leave that up to the administrators. So if I don't want my collaborators, they're just basically going to go out there, scan and upload those models, but I don't want them to be able to accidentally order matter packs and floor plans, which charges me and my company money. I can just disable that feature for any collaborator that way. So matter packs, Google Street View, floor plans, they're all right here. On the account level, what the default measurement setting for floor plans is also set right here. This can be, altered and changed on a per model basis. When you go and actually place the order for the floor plan, you can specify which one you want if you do need to do one-off in something other than the default. And synchronizing with other websites, distribution up to HomeAway and Verbo, that toggle switch is right here. The public details, this is actually really, really nice. If you have consistent public details with all your models, you can add them here. So for example, your collaborators are uploading model data. Every time something is uploaded, it'll say the same presented by, the same contact information, same phone number, email, all that. If you leave any of these out, it's not going to erase what the collaborator may have put in there, but it just won't replace it. Measurement mode, again, you're just setting the default. You can change this on a per model basis, as we saw in the video that I presented earlier. But this is just the overall account default setting. Whether you want your models, the measurements that have been captured in your models to be available, or whether you even want the measurement mode in general to be available to visitors to use. So you can set those two options here by going into edit. Social sharing, that's the little share icon in the bottom right corner of your showcase model. Again, by default, whether that's available or not. The VR link, same thing down there in the bottom corner, whether that's available or not. Content distribution, this is whether a model can be distributed or not to realtor.com. So you'll see, you may have already run into this, but we have add-ons on every model page where you upload to Google Street View, as well as distribute your model to realtor.com if there's a listing. It makes it very convenient. You just kind of skip a couple steps of distributing that model manually, outside of Matterport. So is it, again, on or not by default? You can, again, change this by a per model basis. And face blurring, this is something that is relatively new to this menu. Face blurring will allow the collaborator or technician who's uploading the model data to have access to choose whether they want faces blurred out of the model or not. But that option will not even be available to them if this is deselected. So by default, it is deselected. If you do want that option to be available to them, you can just turn it on right there. And that's pretty much it for this page.
Thanks, Amir. I'll add just real quick on the face blurring. You'll note that it says beta there. So the reason that we do have that set default to off is we just want to make sure that you know that there are some limitations to the service. So just a good idea to check that out if you've got any questions. Let's go back to the presentation briefly here, Amir, and we're just going to jump to archiving spaces.
We are, you're totally right. We're running short on time. I want to do that, but just last thing that I forgot to mention are these little question marks. These are great. If you don't remember what we talked about today, you can just click on this question mark. It'll take you to a full page in our FAQ that'll explain everything to you.
Great, thanks, Amir.
All right.
All right. So we're going to talk about, I do want to spend a minute talking about archiving spaces. I just see this is one of the kind of most basic capabilities with your Matterport account that can be really valuable to you. And I see it just very often either misunderstood or just underutilized. So we're going to take a minute to talk about that. So Matterport super users tend to use the spaces archive function, managing active and archive spaces somewhat systematically. So this allows you to stay organized and to optimize your current subscription level. Really the thinking here is why buy the next plan level for more spaces when you can simply archive. And you want to archive spaces you don't currently need access to. So a quick and kind of important tip to keep in mind before Amir shows us how to archive. Something I find that customers do that really helps them with this is kind of know for your needs how long a specific space should be active for. So have a good sense of that. And then for a lot of folks, you're sharing your spaces, so you want to make sure your customers or end users have access to that. But if you pick a period of time, such as let's say 30 days since a space was last viewed, you can go into your account and look and see what's been viewed in the last 30 days. Once you see that a specific space hasn't been used during that time, you can archive it. And what's important to know is if a customer tries to open the space to view online, but you've archived it, they'll just simply get a message that it's not available. They can reach out to you, and anyone with editability on that space will have the option to go into the account and simply unarchive it. At that point, the space is once again available for viewing with that same URL. So it's a pretty simple thing to do. And I see folks hanging on to unarchived, so active spaces for months and months after the last person has taken a look at it because they're nervous it's going to go away. It doesn't. It just kind of goes into the archive space, and again, flip the switch back on, make it active, and it's right back where you had it with the URL. So archiving is easy to do, and most importantly, it's easy to undo when you want to get back into a space that's been archived. So Amir's going to walk us through that now.
All right. So my list of spaces, you're all familiar with this. I just come here to the little three-dot menu and hit archive. Ask me to confirm, choose archive. You can see that it says archive, and I can no longer open it up. If I try to open it up, it'll first ask me to activate it. So that's one way of activating, just by clicking on it. The other way is, again, in the little three-dot menu over here, you'll have activate space.
Great, thanks, Amir. And one last piece there is I do see folks with large teams or a lot of projects or just kind of a lot going on. What they'll have folks do is they'll have their users or anybody that are in these spaces and familiar with them often. If those folks know that a space is, they're done with it and it can be archived, on the account, you create an archive, to be archived folder, and folks can just throw that in there. And then someone with admin or what have you, if you want someone to have overview of that, they simply go in and click that. So there's a few different ways to manage it. But again, find the system that works for you and use the heck out of archiving. It's a really great feature. All right, we're gonna go here to Mattertags, just another piece. You can go back to the deck and then you're gonna give us that demo. And in fact, let's just, while I'm talking, Amir, just go to the demo. That way you'll have that lined up and I'll hand it over to you in just a second. So
Sure.
If you wanna pull up our Navy ship. So Mattertags provide high value in a number of ways. And I see customers either completely overlook the use of Mattertags altogether, or they really underutilize them. Our most successful customers tend to consistently use Mattertags and often get super creative with them. They're helpful for spaces that are used for real estate listings, insurance claims, museum walkthroughs, like virtual tours. I see them used really interesting ways for industrial production lines and a million other uses. So we're going to take a quick look at how you can use them here and give you some ideas, and then take a look on our support pages for instructions and more ideas, and check out our previous shop talk session focused on Mattertags. So Amir, why don't you we're looking at there we go.
So I've got this model loaded. You may have seen this one in our Destination Everywhere site or gallery. As soon as I roll over a matter tag, you can see that the tag opens up. When I click on it, I'm actually taken straight to that tag. It's kind of centered and it opens up as well. It's a good way of navigating through. I can come down here and I have another matter tag over here. And what I've done in this one is I've included a link. I can include a link to anything outside of the model. It'll just open up in a new tab, but you may not know that I can also include a link to another location within the model. So I've actually linked to a way to go downstairs without actually going downstairs. So there we are. Now we're downstairs. I can come over here and just go back up the stairs. And over here, I have one with another model actually embedded. So you can embed things like images, videos, as well as a whole nother Matterport model. So if I press play here, the model will load, and actually I can actually look at this model while I'm still within this other model. So I can make this full screen and look at it this way, or escape and just have it in the matter tag. So
yeah, and we use this scene in a lot of different use cases, and one very typical one is, for instance, like a rehab or a renovation, right? You can have a model of the space previous, right, and this might be mid renovation or afterwards. And on that tab that we just saw where you kind of warped down from this level to the level below, I've seen that used in models of skyscrapers of, you know, tens of floors high, and go to the elevator, right? And every button on the elevator has a warp to whatever level you want to go. So it's almost like this simulated elevator. It's fun stuff. Do we want to, let's take a quick look at the tabs with the video and the still image, Amir, and then
the video. I think we have a video upstairs. Let's look at that. So here's an embedded video from YouTube.
And you can expand.
I don't have to, look at this in small screen. I can press. I have full, YouTube controls, so I can make this full screen if I want to.
Yep.
And here I just have an image embedded.
Yep. And another fun thing I've seen recently, I think it's been used for a while, but I hadn't come across it, is the use of surveys in here. So we've seen folks almost like it's a real estate listing. I'm looking at it online. If you go to visit a house in person, you would write your name on the guest book so they can grab your details. A realtor can use that survey function. You could use that for a ton of different things. But the point here being, these are just some basics. We're seeing some really great stuff online. So if you think you've could use some ideas, or you have some ideas and want to know more, take a look at those. All right, we're going to go to sharing. And so sharing, a few things to know about sharing. So your spaces are set default to not share until you're ready for them. So we're going to review sharing here to ensure you understand how to prepare your space and its settings, and then the simple process of sharing. I'm featuring sharing here as a super user feature because the more you know on this, and just the easier it gets for you and your team, the faster you get your spaces to optimization. So Amir, why don't you just jump us right into that, and
Sure.
I'll add some comments.
So sharing has recently changed. You may notice, you probably have seen that. Now it's no longer an unlock and then share. It's just a single process. So you just click on the little share button here, which will automatically unlock and make the space available for sharing. Doesn't mean that the link has yet been copied. So what you want to do is you have these three radio buttons down here, these option buttons, branded, unbranded, and MLS. This is basically just different levels of what's included in the model. So unbranded is not going to have any kind of contact information. MLS won't have the contact information, as well as no links to any kind of external documentation. So if you've got a link, for example, in a matter tag that leads to another page, those links are going to be gone if you're choosing to copy the MLS link. And the way you copy it is just by clicking copy link. So I click copy link over here, and I've got that link now copied, and I can go ahead and email that, share that however I want with my network. These same radio buttons also apply to if you're embedding. So keep that in mind. You do also have the option of copying the embed code and pasting that into your landing page or website, but just keep in mind which option button is selected when you do press that copy button, either the link or embed. Finally, over here, by default, it just says viewable to anyone. The other option is I can go back and turn this off if I want to cancel sharing. So that's how I would do that. But I also now have the option to set a password for this model. So I do that over here, and I just tap that and enter whatever password I want. What this means is only somebody with the link and the password is going to be able to access this model. So you still have to share the link, and they'll have to put that link, they'll have to paste the link into a window, but only if they actually have the password will they actually be able to access it. Did I forget anything, Holly?
I don't think so. And I would just add real quick that just two what feel like kind of minor changes to sharing have been, I think, huge for folks. And one is just to understand that we used to say it was making it public to share it. That's not the case until you truly are ready to make it public. So that's why we changed that button to say share. Want to make you feel confident about that. And then this ability to password protect your spaces is huge for folks. So make sure you're aware of that and play around with that a little bit. Great feature.
Yeah, valid point. When sharing, it's not like all of a sudden anyone can just search for your model in Google. Only somebody with that specific link that you send them can access it.
Yep. All right, so we are getting at the end of our time here. Amir, can we jump back to the deck? So real quick, just we've reviewed today some good management of your Matterport plan for organization and efficiency and helping you to stay within your current subscription level if that works for you. So just quick review, there's a lot of other services, features available to you in Matterport that we did not go over today. My recommendation is to look at this list and go through our support center, look at shop talk sessions, and also we've got shorter videos on YouTube, and make sure that you and your team really do have a good understanding of what these capabilities will do for you. All of these are just pretty magic and fun options for your Matterport spaces. So with that said, I'll turn it right back to you, Amir, to wrap us up with information on our support center and additional ways to stay involved and up to speed. Right before I do that, though, I will say Amir and I did not have the opportunity today to get to any questions. So we and the team will certainly follow up with anything that came in through the chat. So yeah, we won't have forgotten you there.
Yes, thank you. I do apologize for that. So real quick, we are pretty much at the end of the hour, and I appreciate your patience and sticking with us through this. At the top of your Matterport.com page, if you have not been there before, if you go to the resources tab, and the first thing below that is support in that dropdown, that'll get you to our support, the support page hub, basically is what I call it. And it's everything that you may need to get your answers questioned. It's got a link to the Help Center, which has a ton of articles and FAQs. It has a list of the top, most requested issues, so you can learn about them there, as well as phone number, contact information to our support team, which is obviously very important. So if you are in the US, I do have the US support phone number here, but if you go to that Help Center and scroll down, you'll see the phone number that's relevant to your location. So there are different locations, including APAC. So if you are in APAC, you should get the phone number that is relevant to you. Email is support@matterport.com. Lastly, just wanted to mention that going into your profile and your account settings, as we just showed you today, making sure that all your information is up to date is always super important with anybody. Not just Matterport, right? But we're talking Matterport today. So please go in and make sure that that is the latest and greatest information to get a hold of you. Because if we do need to get a hold of you, if anything is account related, and we send you an email, that's the email that we're going to use when sending out those messages. So make sure it's updated so that you receive those messages. Staying connected, we are available on Facebook. If you go to our corporate Facebook page at facebook.com/Matterport, you will find everything about Matterport. We're continuously posting everything that's the latest on there. And so to keep your kind of finger on the pulse of what's going on with Matterport, that's a great asset there and resource. Finally, we also have a user group called Moog, M-O-U-G, for Matterport Official User Group. That's also located on Facebook, and if you just search for Moog, you'll find it. Definitely, if you have not subscribed to that, or I guess, like that or whatever, please do so. It's a great way of getting, to know the Matterport community and other people using Matterport and what their experiences are like, as well as some of the models that they've been creating. And those models are phenomenal. If you are in that list and you're sharing your amazing models, please consider nominating your model to the gallery, and possibly it'll get into Destination Everywhere, which is really, really great. So if you go to go.matterport.com/nominate-your-space, you'll be able to fill out a form that allows you to submit your amazing model to us to use in the gallery. So that'll be really cool. And you can, of course, point to that in your own website or portfolio. And that's it. So again, as Holly mentioned, I really, really do apologize for going over the amount of time. We ran into some technical difficulties that unfortunately we're not able to work around, but we will do our best to get back to your questions in an email. So that's about it. I thank you very, very much for attending and being a part of our shop talk today. Holly, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today and sharing all that wonderful knowledge. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.